To the east when the day is done, and think of it all the thoughts that I've seen of satin seams and tired pool dreams.
Oh, these anxious performers always just want to jump up on the stage and have their own little rage. Well, guess what? We make them rest just a little bit and wait their turn, baby. Because, well, you got to be in the flow, man. Sometimes you get a little excited and try to get ahead of it, don't you know? And then it bites you on the big toe and you slow down a bit and then you pay attention, huh? Got to get in that flow all the time, every day here, Monday through Friday, in that coyote sort of way at Spring Creek, the headwaters of life, your moment of truth from a tiny little sound booth way up high in the sky here at 9,000 feet. And baby, we're overwhelmed by the altitude above us, man. The mountains rise behind us another 6, 7, 8,000 feet, man. We got some tall uns around here. They ain't small uns, and boy, I tell you, the weather can be quite severe up there. If you guys been monkeying around, you better come back down. The season's over with now. Ain't no mountain climbing anymore because we got winter already up there. Won't be long before it's down here, man. Gee whiz, I tell you. Riding this flow on the Hazy Radio Network right along with you. I got to tell you, now y'all think, somebody goes on a spiritual path and follows the heart, tries to stay in the flow and share with others, don't you know? And babies, it's not exactly like that. You find your magic, and it's pure, and it's real, and it's right, and it's rockin', and you can share the dickens out of it with other people, and that's all real cool. But there are those around who don't like a little clown that's found his magic hanging around and showing the people how, you see. It just doesn't go well with their variety of what they want to see of his history. You understand me? I'm talking about the three-letter agency types and others that might be even deeper and darker than that. And they pay attention to what's going on here in that spiritual sort of way, that aspect that we think never comes into play, yet it's there in our lives every moment, every day. You see, and so they'll play it in a darker way, and they'll throw things at you. They'll put a little fungus amungus in your food, or throw a little magic ray at you, make you be depressed today, or whatever, Oh, and gosh, you're getting old, your whole body's wearing down. Let's bring a few of that little aggravations hanging around. Slow that man down. Well, guess what? You can't slow down no hound like me. I'm here to liberate my own heart and set everybody else free, and that's what I started out to do when I was just a tiny little punk, and everybody thought I was such a skunk, and guess what? I am. I'm going to piss on their parade something awful, The arrogance is caving in on itself right now, even as we begin, once again, in this moment of time. Those that want to practice in that undivine way without kindness, well, they got another day, another way coming on them today, right now, in this moment of time. You see, we won't allow anymore any other heart to allow in the illusion of darkness, to hang out there, to be arrogantly dictatorial in any way, whether you're a mother-loving saint over there in India with an ashram that'd just kill you. Billions of dollars there, eh? You sure like those white ladies, don't you? Ooh, they got lots of money, too, man. They're nice, huh? Sugar and spice. That's what life is supposed to be made out of, you see. But as long as we're living it from this point of disparity, ain't no rest for the wicked, don't you see? Then we're always dealing from some kind of desperate aspect. If you got a lot, well, you're afraid everybody's going to try and take it from you, and by God, they will. And you can't blame them, because it's not right. To be sitting there on a great big pile and other folks have nothing. And you know it. And so do those other folks, too. So we're not coming after you. And, we're coming after your heart. We're bringing it forward. So you can realize that the only reason why you accumulate is to share. To just give it away, You can be creative about it, but just give it away to people that are in need. We're here to help each other out. And the more you get of these storms, these hurricanes, these earthquakes, all the other disasters, the more you're going to realize that. And, your government's going to hell. Well, good grief. Let it go. Take care of each other and let the magic come forward. Get past this idea that money's the only thing and that you've got to have it in order to live here. Now, what we're saying is give up the obsession with money. You got to be practical, and you got to live in this so-called real world, and you do got to get by, but you don't got to go sell yourself short in any way to do it. You're not desperate, and you're not alone. You've got great company, and you've got the sheer brilliance of the universe inside of you. And there's not a complexity that you come up against you can't resolve in one way or another. This is what I do when I have these physical things going on, and I know at some level it's an attack, but I can't deal with it at that level. I can't see it that way. I don't want to be it that way, therefore it's not that way. And I go and I try every available avenue to me. I just keep going through it, staying in that flow, and just letting it take me wherever I go. And if I have to do a little suffering along the way, oh well, somebody got to do it, I guess, or else I'll never get over it. But, let's just get on with it. Let's give up the idea that we have to suffer in the least or sell ourselves short in any way. That's programming, baby. Big time. And it's the worst kind of programming because it runs from the top to the bottom of society. It's rare when you run into people like me that aren't so obsessed with the money. I used to live amongst fields of gold. Do you think I ever mind any of it? Hell no. All my neighbors were, but I just, shit. What's gold? It's just gold. It's beautiful. Nice, shiny little rock. I love it so. Purity in life, too. That's what it represents. That's why everybody's so obsessed about it. But they go to the most great of corruption to try to find this purity. They'll rape the Mother Earth mercilessly for a little bit of this gold, don't you see? That's why the gold, when you're like a miner chasing a little vein, it keeps retreating from you. You're just 2 feet away from the big one, you know it. You can feel it in your bones, but chip, 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 blast, 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 chip, 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 blast, 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 and it just keeps withdrawing. You got this tiny little trickle leading you on, see? Trying to teach you something about your obsessions here in this 3D and about the programming, don't you see? Could there ever be a greater falsehood than chasing after a little hunk of gold inside of a mountain at the risk of your life and many others? Does it make sense whatsoever to go and do that? You got to think about these things. That's complete insanity. Programming of the worst sort. And yet it just plays like automatic pilot through most people. Until you reach these points in your life where it beats you up a little bit, just like that. Then you finally start to question your loyalty to this god of money. It doesn't mean you can't have a lot and enjoy yourself. Why not? But at the same time, you'll never be comfortable until you help others set themselves free. It's just the way it works here in this reality, see? So you've been playing it backwards all along, and that's why it just goes to hell in a handbasket, and war comes around, and we got all this gruesome shit going on. We don't need that in our lives. We don't need an American empire. We need a world empire that's smart enough and wise enough and kind enough to be kind to one another, to be totally caring, to be totally the opposite of what this world holds up. This world says you can't care if you want to get there. You got to sell yourself short. You got to sell out. You got to do this. You got to do that. That's the only way you're going to get to the pile of money that we got, et cetera, et cetera. It's just all such bullshit. Total, complete, arrogant bullshit. Because people believe in it so fiercely that they'll take a gun and put it to your head and threaten your life to steal the few dollars you have on you. Now that's about as desperate as it gets. Or a woman will go lie down herself for anyone that's got money. It just can't be that we got to sell ourselves short anymore. We got to respect ourselves a little more than that. Let that shine inside come out. Get bright, see, and we'll find a way to get it right. Eventually, we're done with money, but we got to do a little transition in between. And see, money is power and power is money. There ain't no power in any of it, and that's what you're bound to see. Just like the old miner chasing that tiny little trickle of gold, man. You're going to find out that your own arrogance is what gets you into trouble. Your own programming, which brings the arrogance forward, because it feels insufficient, so it has to be sufficient. So, it does all these crazy things. And unkindness, to try and saturate itself with all the worldly goods it can handle, etc., and then some. And it doesn't do a body any good. It's no fun at all. It's ashes in your hand, You sold yourself short, you married the richest man, and guess what? You're the unhappiest girl in the whole wide land. Think about lion eyes and the eagles. You can't hide them lion eyes. So you go have an affair with your old high school chum. That's how you compensate yourself. And your old man knows it and lets you go. Because he knows you're just a toy, just an owned thing, just another piece of property, don't you know? And he don't mind loaning it out. He's real liberal, you see. He wants you to be happy in the 3D too, though he'd never tell you that. You see, we pick on each other so much. And when we get in these pits of misery, like the one just described, I've been around some of these in real life here. I tell you what, it's a cold, cold atmosphere. And not one that anybody would want to live here. Not at all. It's like there can't be any emotion in the whole household. It's like the whole thing's a refrigerator and the people in it are refrigerated and therefore running a whole lot slower than they ought to be. And therefore picking on each other, etc. in the most unkind and cruel ways. Stealing big hunks of money from one another. Shit like that. I mean, they just forgot what life is all about. It's not about the money. It's about the love. And money can be love and money should be used lovingly until we can put it out of business. That's all we lack here is the attitude of care. If we had that to temper all of our activities, the caring, can you imagine what a paradise this could be? How greatly, just in the 3D, how great we could all be living? The high life, man, the champagne life. Why not? Why not give a shit? Why not cave into that pressure in your heart and let go of the hardness? And let the softness transform it. The mother love. See, that's what you've been lacking. You took on an authoritarian love. That's what money is. It's this pyramidic structure where you got, the king and then everybody else below him and all that shit. It's just total nonsense. It's exactly opposite of how human beings ought to be. Now, if you think about it, when we lived tribally, those were our happiest times, even though they were pretty mucked up too, and nobody can tell me that's an ideal life. But it's a suggestion of one, let me tell you that. Big time. It's how we held the energy of that, because essentially we are tribal. I forget who it was, one of the moniker monkeys that talks about life every now and then said that humans naturally tribalate around 145 persons. There's lots of harmony as long as there's 145 persons or less involved in a group of community or whatever. And when it goes over that, then the contention arises, and you got fights and feuds and just all kinds of stuff, So our natural ability to live is enhanced by a family presence of about 145. And that don't mean, blood family. That means spirit family. The family that vibrates at the same resonation of your heart. This is where the new human being comes from, the superhuman. From people like that who know their heart and vibrate at the heart's level and go with the flow, as they come together and mate, well, the progeny of that, if it's even necessary, are obviously the brilliant ones that can be programmed and won't be. I mean, we're seeing the effect of that already in the millennials, but that's just a beginning. Sorry, guys. I mean, you're beautiful, and I know you're going to pull it off. I have every bit of faith in you, and in your good heart and your clear sight, Let yourself get a little age on, and then you'll get it right, see? Just, monkey with it, but you know what you won't accept in the 3D. And I'm so happy to see that you won't go to an unkind place. That, if they want your brilliance, they're going to have to, soften up. How else are we going to change this world? You see, except for having people like that here in the 3D. And there's more and more of them all the time. Because the more you light up, start to get in the flow, go where you got to go, do what you got to do, be with where you got to be with, all of that. Once you do that, babies, well, the care naturally arises. And, it becomes a lot more syncopated here. Synchronized. That's the rock and roll, the rhythm and harmony, you see? And it gets that way. And that's what rock and roll's bringing to us anyway, is that rhythm and harmony that keeps life going. It don't last 3 minutes. It lasts forever. And ever. And ever. See, and when we're getting into this shining place, this glow that I call the flow, when we allow ourselves to expand from the heart outward, you see. And how do you do that? Well, baby, what have I been talking about for the last 20 minutes or so? You just get in that flow. You get in that glow inside yourself. It's pure magic. And you know, you won't believe it at first, but it'll prove itself to you again and again and again. It's where we go when we want to have a real medicine show. Just like here on the Hazy Radio. Ooh, yeah, weekdays, 8 to 11 a.m. when Grandpa Coyote and Okie-Wan Kenobi and Mary Jane and all the rest of the sweet angels and ancestors and saints and just whatever you want to call them comes out to play here. And helps us find our way, dear. By showing us that way, by blowing it back in our faces. You betcha. Well, that's the way it's got to be. Then we'll see beyond the 3D and start to seek something called happiness, purity, strength, dignity, integrity, stuff that just doesn't seem to have any place in this 3D world right now, eh? But guess what? There's a whole lot of that underway. Because the more you shatter the people and try to drive them apart, the more together they become, because they become conscious that they are one. And the ultimate power arises in the people, including those in places of leadership, and all will fall on their face and help recreate this world. Start over again. That's the Spring Creek moment we're looking for and creating right here, right now, on this day. Okay? So get up your haunches and let's get it underway, man. I don't care how bad it's been. It's never going to be that bad again. Not unless you tolerate it.